So children, in the earlier video we have discussed about the different types of ethics, or we have discussed two ethics types, that is computer ethics and the software ethics. Now in this video we will be discussing about the different forms of attacks, and then we will be discussing about the 10 commandments of the computer ethics. So the very first topic in this is the different forms of attacks. Now in this topic we will be discussing about the different kinds of popular attacks that are there in these days, right? So first term is this is spamming. Okay, so spamming refers to sending of bulk mail by an identified or unidentified source. So that means what? Many person will be receiving the same mail having the same content and all the things in that. And suppose you are not looking to buy a shoe, but still you are getting many mails for purchasing the shoes. So in that case, that is not relevant to you, but you are still getting the emails in your mail ID, right? So that kind of thing is known as spamming. Coming over to the second form of attack is the computer virus. So what are viruses? You already know that viruses are the malicious codes or programs that cause damage to the data and files on a system. So computer virus is one of the attacks that people are facing these days. That is the most common attacks these days now. Next is the worms. So worms is what? It is a kind of program which eats up the entire memory. And how it eats up all the memory? Because they are self-replicating. So that means what? If you are having one copy of the worm, it will create two more copies with it. Okay, two more copies it will create, and these two will create two more copies with it. So overall four. So like this, the chain reaction will occur, and the worm will be spread in all the memory parts, and your memory will be full. So that is the attack of worms. Next is Trojan horse. So Trojan horse refers to it looks like harmless but actually performs malicious functions such as damaging or deleting a file. So what Trojan horse do is that suppose you have installed softwares on your system, and if you will be attacked by Trojan horse, so in that case what will happen? This Trojan horse will it is a kind of virus, will delete or damage some of the important files for the software, and in that case your software will not be able to work properly, or they are not able to run properly. Okay, so these kind of attacks comes under the Trojan horse. Next is sweeper. So sweeper, like the sweeper sweeps the an area and everything is clean over there, right? In the similar way, sweeper has a work that sweeper will delete all the data from the system. So these are kind of the problems that we have. Like sweeper is a kind of thing that deletes all the data from the system, and you will be having a blank system. So when you will open the system, you will see the system blank. You will not be able to do anything in that system. Okay, so that is the problem. Next is denial of services. So denial of services means it eats up all the resources of the system, and the system comes to an halt. Suppose what will happen that if a single person if many of the persons are using the resources, but one of the person is doing what? He or she is using most of the resources of the system. So in that case, you will not be able to provide the service to other persons or the other users also. So that is a kind of thing we face in the denial of services, that the software denies providing the resources from a system, as all the resources of the system is busy catering the other users on the network. Next is password guessing. So this is the most common among hackers, where hackers, what they do, they will be able to crack or guess passwords of your system accounts and gain entry into the remote computer. So these were the different forms of attacks we face nowadays. Now, after this, we will be talking about the 10 commandments of the computer ethics. So, what you should keep in mind while using your computer. So, all these are kind of 10, maybe it's a kind of a warning, or it will be providing you the direction that what comes under the computer ethics. So the first point in this is do not use a computer to harm other people. So like if you are using the system or any computer, in that case, you should not be harming other people's. Okay, so that is the thing. Second is do not interfere with other people's computer work. Okay, if someone is doing something, you should not disturb him to do his work. So that is the thing which comes under the second point. Do not interfere with other people's computer work. Next is do not snoop around other people's computer files. So suppose if a friend is providing you a system to do your work, and what you are doing that rather than working on your own work, you are just checking the files of your friend and you are using it. So that thing has to be avoided. Next thing is do not use a computer to steal. So suppose any key information or personal information is there, and you are using any other people's system and you are just stealing the information. So that should not be done over there. Next is do not use a computer to bear false witness. So maybe sometimes it happens that you should not be using the witnesses falsely using the computer. Next is do not copy or use software for which you have not paid. So it comes under the piracy that if you you don't have the copy of the software, right, and you are using it, so that is the illegal thing for you. So you should not use any software for which you have not paid. Next is do not use other people's computer resources without authorization and proper compensation. So what you are doing that suppose you are using the user ID and password of any other person, and what you are doing that you are doing this without the authorization of the person. So that is a illegal thing to do. Next is do not appropriate other people's intellectual output. So do not judge other people's intellectual output so that they are not hurt by the thing, right? So that comes under the 8th point. The 9th point, that do not write something on internet that has bad social consequences. So that means what? Do not write any bad thing about any community and any other thing, right? So whenever you are posting something on Facebook or Twitter or any other social media site or social networking site, so you must note that whatever you are writing should be in a proper way, so that the words, yet your words are respecting the respecting the feelings of the all of the communities that you are writing about. Okay. Next is to use computers to ensure consideration and respect for your fellow humans. So suppose you are using a system, so use it that way that will benefit the other persons also. So that is the thing. Now after this we have three more terms to be defined, that is authorization, authentication and firewall. So first about authorization. Authorization is performed by asking the user a legal login ID. So if the user is able to provide the legal login ID, he or she is considered to be an authorized user. So if person is providing the correct login ID, they are called as the authorized users. And if the person is providing the correct password, in that case they are known as the authenticated users. Okay, authorization is about the login ID and authentication is about the passwords. The last term in this class will be the firewall. So firewall is what? Firewall is a system designed to prevent unauthorized access to or from a private network. Okay. So suppose you are using your system and any other private network which you are not aware about is trying to steal your information or get into your system for that, to stealing information. So in that case, this firewall will prevent the unauthorized users to enter the system. So with this, we have completed this chapter and we have finished off with all the topics that we have in this chapter. So that's it in this video. Thank you so much.